Hey, welcome to Happy Tales of Happy Tales, the podcast where you'll hear stories of the way pubs have touched our hearts and our lives. So for the next few minutes, let everything else go and just listen and smile. I'm your host, Julie Jackson. Hey friends, I hope this finds you doing well. This is actually a follow-up on last week's story. Last week I shared with you about little Allie, my little corgi Sheltie mix that started it all for me, probably. And this is just one of my all-time favorite Allie stories. And if my mom were still living, I may get in trouble for telling this story, but it was so funny. So my mom, after my parents were retired, Mom would often, she had her chair, her lazy boy, it had her little table next to her, and it had all of her, her books and her whatever, she did like a lot of embroidery and stuff like that. And whatever she was working on, it was all right there. And a lot of times she would spend a lot of time just in her chair doing her thing. And just a little bit about my mom. My mom was the most outgoing, friendly person you've ever met. Just so warm and embracing everyone, just so loving and fun. And she took a genuine interest in everybody. She knew everything about everyone, but not in like a busybody way, but in a because she really cared way. And she would run into people she hadn't seen in years and be like, oh, hey, whatever happened last time I talked to you, your so-and-so was having tests run. Are they okay? I mean, she remembered every detail about everyone and was always genuinely concerned. And so this is just an aside, but at one point she had a mild stroke as she got older, and she was really struggling because she was so upset about the memory loss. And we kind of had to marvel because we said after the stroke with her memory loss, she still remembered more than most of us ever remembered when we were perfectly healthy. So that was a little bit about my mom, but my mom loved the dogs, and especially Allie. Allie was the first grand dog, if you will. And Allie and my mom had a special bond. Mom was the one, that Allie probably quickly identified as the weakest link as far as accidentally dropping food and things like that. So when Mom would sit in her recliner, Allie, and remind you, Allie got to the point where she was a little bit over fluffy. So it wasn't even like it's this little bitty tiny lap dog, but Allie would hop up in that recliner once she'd let Mom get in. And then once Mom was in there, Allie would hop up in there, and then she would back her rear end in between Mom and one of the armrests and wiggle her way down. And then she'd sit there, and a lot of times she'd have her front paws kind of hanging over the armrest, and they would sit there and rock for as long as Mom would stay in that chair. If Mom stayed in that chair for hours, Allie would sit there with her and rock for hours. And that was their thing. We would go to Mom and Dad's house often. A lot of times once I moved back where I was closer to home, I would often go visit them at least once a weekend. And of course, Allie always came with me. So that was a big thing. She'd get super excited when she'd see the seatbelt coming out because she knew we were going to see Mama and Papa. So one day we're over there and we're visiting. We're visiting, and Mom's sitting in her recliner, and Allie sees it, and Allie trots over there, and she's poised in her ready position, about to jump up, waiting for Mom to get situated. And all of a sudden, Allie starts making this awful noise, and I hear Mom going, Allie, stop that. And I walk over to find out what's going on because it was this terrible, terrible sound. And there's the most awful smell. So my mom, when she sat in the chair, had passed gas and was trying to pretend like she hadn't. And she was trying to play it off. And all of a sudden, Allie starts going, and she's making this gagging, coughing sound that you can hear throughout the whole house. And then, of course, my mom making a big production about trying to get her to stop and drew all this attention to it. And we're all coming over there to make sure everyone's okay. And then we all, of course, realized what had happened. And there was no way Mom could deny it. So I still to this day get so tickled when I think about that, because my mom, she wasn't pretentious at all, but she was raised in the South in the 20s and 30s, and that just wasn't something that you talked about, and so of course she was just mortified and so embarrassed, and it's still to this day one of my favorite dog stories, and it was so funny. So she did forgive Allie for ratting her out, but I will just never forget the day that Allie blew the whistle on her, and there was no way around it. She could not play it off. So anyway, I hope that y'all have a wonderful week, and I hope that your dogs don't rat you out. Bye, y'all. Thank you so much for joining me today. I know that you are busy, and I really appreciate that you chose to spend some of your time with me. So let's do a little bit of bookkeeping before we head out. If you enjoy this and you would like to receive the episodes automatically without having to seek them out, then in your podcatcher, follow or subscribe. And that way, every time an episode drops, it'll show up for you and you'll know that it's there. Makes it super easy. You don't have to think about it. Please go visit the website. It's really cute. It's got puppy pictures. Also, I've got a free gift for you over there if you will go check it out. And if you would like to message me, if you have any suggestions, specific pup stories you want to hear, or even better, if you want to share a story, you can message me right there from the website. That's the best way to get to me for that. Check us out on all the different socials, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, all of them. That's where you'll see pictures of the pups that we talk about each week. Also, just other fun pup things. I'm going to put episodes on YouTube as well. Sometimes the episodes are recorded via Zoom, and so there's video. A lot of times it's just us talking, but every now and then there are some fun cameos from puppies, or there's shenanigans in the background, and you can catch all that on YouTube. If you want to help me out, if you would leave a positive review and share the podcast, that would be fantastic. I would be really grateful. And once again, if you want to help me out, I would love to share your story. So please hit me up and let's schedule a time that we can talk. Some people have shared their stories in writing. Some people have gotten on the phone and done a chat with me. So we can do whatever you are most comfortable with. Finally, do not forget that you are as great as your dog thinks you are, and go smooch your pooch. Thanks, y'all.